Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and everything in between, above, below, and through dimensions, my name is Blazybard, your host with an ever-increasing amount of hair, and joining me today is the wonderful Lermy Wormy, who is my co-host for this week on the SCC NA Games Week 2. How are you doing today, Lermy?
It's been a great day so far, but this matchup is going to be even better. Our first match today is going to be Hype Unit up against Gone to Tahiti, and this is a matchup you will not want to miss. These guys are pretty evenly matched, if you ask me, and unfortunately for Hype Unit, Veronic has stepped away from the scene, but they are going to have Nayu coming through as a replacement, and me personally, I love what I've been seeing from Nayu in SMITE Prime tournaments and beyond.
Well, I haven't, unfortunately, been able to catch any of his games, but I have seen Gone to Tahiti in action last week, if you remember, and they had a very, very strong showing last week against your best buds, winning 2-0 there. So we'll see how they're going to get on in this arena. I'm super excited. What players are we looking at here? I'm looking at Cope, because Cope
is dope. Yeah, okay, I got you. I picked it up. All right. Yeah, Cope. He's been amazing so far. He's honestly probably one of the top performers in the league just with how he can play so aggressively and get away with it. Honestly, you don't see a lot of supports, even throughout the SPL, that can play to this caliber and be this kind of aggressive carry. I mean, a support is kind of the opposite of a carry, right? They're there to hold up everyone else, but Cope's here at the top, and he says, all right, team, where's the help? Get in my backpack and just give me a boost, because that's all he really needs. So, honestly, if I'm Hype Unit, I'm taking away stuff like Hercules, Erling, Shen, and anything else that can be aggressive.
Potentially even the Horus as well, but we'll see as we jump into picks and bans for Game 1 here. I'm very excited. I'm once again hoping to see a Kuzumbo. We saw it in the SPL earlier on this week. Rafa picked it up, so maybe we'll see it. Olaran going to be the first ban here from Hype Unit. As you often say, Hecate users super strong at the moment, so no surprises there.
I mean, we saw exactly what they can do in just our last set from the SPL. Both Netrioid and Shinto on Hecate abusers at the same time. No, get it out of here. And clearly Hype Unit have done their homework. They're not going to let that kind of thing happen. And surely you got to plan out at least a little bit in advance what you're going to be doing in picks and bans. So Hype Unit not willing to deal with even just one of them takes it away. Another one that they're going to take away is going to be Uller, who's kind of up there in terms of having some sort of physical hunter with a lot of CC, a lot of damage. Just good all around.
For sure. I mean, not quite what I was expecting. I was expecting probably more of a Freya ban, but Uller definitely strong at the moment. On the flip side, though, we see Yamoja Persephone being banned from Tahiti, and, well, there's the Freya ban there. Thank you, Hype Unit. Making me look all smart. Look at that. Oh, big boy caster trousers.
Next up, though, is going to be Ao Kuang, and it looks like 3 out of the 5 or so Hecate abusers have been removed from this game. That will leave up Kronos and Sol, but I would honestly argue neither of those are first pick worthy material. But one thing we haven't really touched on yet is the big boy himself, Cthulhu, is available right now. And as much as I hate seeing Cthulhu in support, I honestly think this could be a great pickup for Cope, but that's if Hype Unit let it through and they decided, not gonna happen, they're gonna pick it up for themselves.
Well, we've seen the impact that Cthulhu can have on these games, especially without Yamoja, who, in my opinion, is probably one of the bigger counters to him, being able to body block that huge area with the Yamoja walls, the water. Aphrodite being picked up to counter it, though. Do you think we're going to see the Aphrodite here in the solo lane, or do you think this is maybe a mid-pick?
This is going to be Aphrodite Hercules, if you ask me. Throwing those two together is a dangerous combination, but as you were asking, I think it's going over to the solo lane, just because we saw it happen last week, doing that same sort of combo with the super aggressive support, having the Aphrodite be slightly tanky, and then coming in there to boost up Cope even more. So if that's going to be the case again, I'm excited to see it, but they also are going to lock in this Heimdall, which I agree. I think he's still a very powerful pick and deserves the second pick slot, but we've said it this entire draft session. Cope is the hard carry for the squad. I would have liked to seen them pick up the Hercules earlier, but by all means, Heimdall is good enough too.
I mean, speaking of Hercules, they didn't pick it up early, and that's going to be taken away from them. Hype Unit actually going to take it. So you think this is going to be Hercules support? I agree with you. I don't think Cthulhu is the best in the support role. Definitely finding a more comfortable home over in solo lane. So probably Quig looking to run this Herc over in that duo lane. But Arachne going to be picked up last for the first phase of picks and bans for Gone to Tahiti. What do you think to the Spider here in this situation?
We saw Mollusk pull it out last week, and I wasn't overly impressed by it. His farming in the very early game was super good. He is on top of being able to manage those spiders and exactly how much damage they do in the early levels, so at least he's got that going for him, but it's all going to be about how he transitions this spider into the mid and late game, because these two teams, being very evenly matched, they could be going to 30, 40, even maybe 50 minutes if they really are that even, and that's kind of where Arachne will struggle, is if she gets to where everybody's even, if she can't get close enough to the ROM or whatever mid that Hype Unit is picking up, she's going to have a really rough time.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one of those situations. We'll have to see. I'm with you. I don't think we saw Mollusk pull it out too... Like, it wasn't like all the stops, so maybe we'll see a better showing from him this week, as Sobek Morrigan banned out for Hype Unit and Raijin for Tahiti. Now, the Raijin I can agree with, but Ratatoska, as we see Merlin being picked up here by Tahiti, why Rat ban?
He's just in a very strange spot, I would argue. That reworks of him, giving him 4 different acorns now really opens up the gateway of possibilities for this character. You could build him very healthy, you could build him with crit even. There's so many options for this character that just getting rid of him altogether, you don't want to deal with anything that you can't really be prepared for, because honestly, I would argue every single one of those acorns is viable, and even in the jungle, if you're looking at the 2 aggressive ones, either one could work out, so just getting rid of him altogether, I'm okay with, and especially if you're going to be picking up a Nemesis, I mean, that's still a W in my book.
For sure. Nemesis, we've seen, has made some really impactful performances in other games this week, both in SPL and SCC. So definitely interested in seeing how Hype Unit are going to use her. I would have liked to have seen it being picked up by Gone to Tahiti. I think she's really good into this Cthulhu, as like a Cthulhu's big. The only real counter to that is Death. Ymir being picked up to Gone to Tahiti. Now, okay, we've talked about Cope being super aggressive on these support picks, but Ymir? What do you think about this?
If you follow my Twitter, I've posted several times about how, jokingly, Ymir should be removed because pros need to stop picking him. Ymir, statistically, not a good character. Has not worked out when he's been picked up in the SPL. And as much as we've been touting Cope and his brilliance as a support, I don't like this character.
Well, we'll see if he can put the Ice Cube to good use as we're about to head into Game 1 here. Looking at the comps, Lemmy, what do you think? Who do you think's got the bigger hat in this ring?
Honestly, I love everything that Hype Unit has drafted. They got the early pressure coming out of Quig on this Hercules, and of course Cascade and Layers to bring up the late game as well. So if everyone works together, which clearly they are, already picking on Mando, and he might actually fall down here. This poor Afro, man, he just floated into the cave. You can't do that to him.
That is very unfortunate, especially up against a Cthulhu. In lane, Mando's going to struggle. I mean, Aphrodite not necessarily struggles in lane, but obviously has a little bit of a harsh early. But this could be really, really bad. The kill goes on to Rama as well, which is going to put Benny Q a little bit ahead of the Heimdall, which is really going to help him out because Heimdall doesn't have the best early game out of these two ADCs. So, I don't know. Could be interesting.
Honestly, these lanes will probably stagnate at least a little bit unless Cope dies in the very beginning of the game, because we saw what happened yesterday to Snoopy after he took a lot of early spillage in the SPL. So, you know, if Cope is able to at least be better than Snoopy with this character, then I'm all for it. We're probably going to see a pretty even game, but this is all about Quig hitting level 2. He unfortunately does miss the knockup there, but look at a nice chunk of damage there on the Diesel, and these guys are still waiting to hit level 2 themselves, but Mollusk over here invading, and this is the kind of power you see from an early game Arachne. Using the webs onto the blue is going to be incredibly helpful because you don't even have to be there. If your solo laner starts at the blue with at least 2 webs, it's just done. The camp doesn't survive.
For sure, it's one of the big advantages of having these auto-attack based characters, but I do want to talk about the dual lane a little bit more, if that's okay. I just want to point out one of the things that Cope might have an advantage on in this game is the fact that he knows Herc support, right? Like, this is his bread and butter, so maybe he'll be able to play against it pretty well, do you think?
Honestly, Honestly, yeah, and I mean, Mir isn't necessarily the worst matchup in the world because if the Hercules goes onto Diesel, there is a chance that he will be able to actually wall the driving strike to at least slow down some of the push coming out. But speaking of slowing down, we're doing the exact opposite as we're speeding up. Double freeze is good on the Cope, but same old story. Ymir over in the dual lane, he's going down early.
That's just unfortunate there. Cope steps a little far forward. Not even that far forward realistically, but because of Ymir's just complete immobility, he's going to take a spill there. That's going to be a second kill on the side of Hype Unit already. You can tell this is NA. It's already going very quickly. If this was EU, we wouldn't have seen any of these kills. It would be about 7 minutes in. But looking to group up.
At this point, though, like you said, they wanted to go for this invade, but good on Saps to make the rotation. Hope did take a spill there, and it gave the pressure over to the dual lane, and that might have led to even more there, but good on Mollusk to show up here in mid. But a little bit for Saps, who had to make that rotation, and now it's just back to farming for everybody else. Neo is going to actually benefit a little bit more than the boy Saps right now because he does have that assist to his name. So having that little bit of XP and gold advantage will certainly be nice, especially if he's able to tick 5 right above this Merlin. Being able to cripple him out and force beads or do anything really to help layers get in a position that's going to be favorable is exactly what you need.
Well, speaking of this extra assist that people get at the start of the game, over in the right-hand side, we were saying about Mando maybe being at a disadvantage, but actually a fair amount ahead already of Cascade, who, well, has clearly made up that difference because they just pinged 5 at the exact same time. So ignore me, I guess. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. But teams are just going to go back to casting. What do you think the next kind of engagement situation is for these kind of teams? I think Hype is probably going to look to engage, but when?
They're picking on Cope. Absolutely. They are going to be waiting for the ultimate combo from Layers to be up, and then Quig and Benny probably will wait on their ults as well. And as soon as Quig gets a sick pull push, it's going to be lights out for Cope once again. And honestly, that's going to be the name of the game, at least for the first 10 or so minutes. Once the map starts to open up, even just a little bit, it's going to be more so focused on the mid lane, focused on this Merlin. But check out where Layers is. He's trying to pick on this Arachne, putting a ward down on the speed, because we saw even last week that once Mollusk hits this level 5 mark, he is on the rotation. So knowing this, Layers actually preparing to maybe make a slight invade onto that speed buff is working ahead of time here.
Well, Mollusk definitely showing us that he can do these invades, getting that big harpy over on the left-hand side. But here in mid lane, Cope could look like he's going to help out his mid laner here. Now he falls to about half HP, forced to ult, but nothing's really going to come of it, and it's just going to be a bit of a little scuffle over in the mid lane. But Mollusk also forced to ult by Quig with a beautiful pancake flip there. I guess that's going to be Mollusk's ability to gank for at least another minute and a half.
Cope is making the rotation, so even if Benny Q gets aggressive, he's going to have to be careful, especially because ults are now available for everyone on this side of the map. But like you said, that was ultimate force from Mollusk, and it seems like Hype Unit has done their homework. They know that Mollusk loves to invade, and so they've been prepared to kind of counter it, and it looked like Neu might have almost fallen down because they were kind of countering it. But at the same time, the fact that Neu lived there is such a good look.
And over in the right lane, looking even better is this gank here from Sops, trying to do some damage onto Cascade here, but he catches the rotation, actually manages to turn around some of the damage back onto the Merlin. Attempt at the blue buff invade here, but it's not going to come of anything. Mando's going to pick it up, and it's going to be a little bit of presence shown here from Layers, and that speed buff has just come up, so let's see if Hype Unit are going to look to invade it. Cope, he's making sure that no one's coming up for the speed buff, so not anything coming out of this war just yet.
Hey, I mean, they did steal away those back camps. That's better than nothing, you might argue, and especially because Mollusk does not have the ultimate. That could have been a good time to go in, but they just weren't as grouped as they had wanted to be. Neo, unfortunately, can't really risk walking out that far, especially with the Ymir in the way. So they did think about it. It was on the platter, but they said, nah, I'm full. We'll go somewhere else right now. And at this point, that's honestly the best move because they do have a pretty late game oriented draft. I mean, if you're looking at the characters on the board here for Hype Unit, the only one that I would really argue is honestly very early game is this Hercules. and they've already used him to a pretty good success so far. So if they keep putting on the pressure here with this Hercules and transitioning it into more kills, maybe for Layers or Neu, we're looking good.
Speaking of kills, potentially over here in the left lane is forced into the ultimate is BennyQ. Gonna get a couple shots up, but everyone's just kind of backing away from him there. That could be devastating as we see the blink in here from Quig. I'm not really sure what he's planning on doing. Mollus takes to the skies, but now it's going to be Layers coming in. Alongside the mid laner, Cope is going to be the first one to fall down with a nice boulder combining with the rest of his team. 4-man over in this left-hand side just to pick up Cope, and you were completely on the money there, Lummy. They're looking to bully Cope, and they're looking to do it hard.
I loved the idea there from Moss trying to put the pressure on the BennyQ, because if you're going to pick any place to go, it's probably going to be Benny, just because he does have the least sort of safety when it comes to overall lane position and everything. But check it out. They re-engaged onto Benny once again, forcing out the beads, but Benny has absolutely no mana, no ult, and now no beads. And with stops in the rotation, he's going to have some solid damage, but Benny's going to get out.
Just unfortunate there. Just off the mark is the Ice Shard from Sops. So doesn't quite find the damage or the slow that he needs to secure that kill. So another wipe. Gone to Tahiti just not being able to find the kills. They can find the damage, just not quite getting those secures in. They did pick up Oreos though, so maybe looking towards this Gold Fury as soon as they pick up another kind of force out of BennyQ, potentially from Quig as well. That's what I kind of want to be seeing from Gone to Tahiti here. Some more objective pressure that maybe they can eke by a little bit.
They certainly do have a lot of objective presence. They've got the Ymir Shards of Ice to secure it, and of course the damage coming out from this Merlin to be able to put it low enough for the secure to even happen in the first place. So between those two it could be good, but Blink in here from Cope is going to force Benny into a rough spot. Like you said, beautiful wall, but up into the sky goes the Rum and straight back down.
And it's gonna probably fizzle out from there. Moss is gonna go onto the World Wide Web and try to catch up to them, but he's instead just gonna find a boulder and a pancake flip from Quig. The Apple of Discord isn't quite gonna be on the mark, and Moss is gonna find his way out, but he is being pursued by Layers, but I don't think he's gonna be able to find him. Now, looking at this grouping from Hype Unit, they could look to potentially force a fight over the Gold Fury, but instead they're looking for a potential invade. Not quite going to find the purple buff just yet. If they hang around for just another couple seconds though, it'll spawn up and it should go their way pretty easily.
And you say so, but Cope's around the corner here, able to do a lot of damage with the Ice Carpet. Quig's going to pick up that purple instead of his ADC. I'm sure in the comms there, Benny's saying, man, I could have had that, but as you were saying, objective focus is going to be the name of the game coming up in just a couple of minutes. I don't think really either side can make that full committal just yet, but of course it is going to be in favor of Gone to Tahiti if they are the ones to sneak it away. So if the ward coverage is good, by all means, they have the ability to sneak it. They've got the sustain, they've got the spiders from Mollusk, they've got the secure from Cope, and the burn from Stops. Altogether, it could be good looks for them, but they've got to find the opportunity, and then beyond that, they've got to capitalize on it.
And speaking of capitalizing on opportunities, over in the right-hand side, once again, engagement has started, but just as quickly as it is, everyone just kind of fizzles out and backs away. Why do you think we're not seeing any of these teams commit to one of these slightly larger fights, the 2v2s?
It's going to be really hard when you're dealing up in the soul lane, but now that Cascade doesn't have an ultimate, it's time for Moss to go in, and with the help of the Aphrodite, it is going to be a kill onto the soul laner, and that's the first one on the board there for Gone to Tahiti, and unfortunately, because Layers is on that right side of the map, they're not able to put pressure on this Gold Fury, despite how good it would be to be able to do that right now, but check this out. Backhand stolen away by Mollusk, and Layers is moderately behind. He's going to have to save the shield until after he gets stunned, and here comes Quig to the rescue.
The boulder doesn't quite find its target as Mollusk's reaction time is absolutely on the ball there. No pun intended. He makes it up into the sky and makes it away just in time to steal away that blue buff alongside his solo laner. But over on the left-hand side, though, could be seeing a bit of a scuffle here as well, but Heimdall's going to find that Bifrost, and he's going to be just fine, but here we go. First objective of the game, going to look very decisively in favor of Gone to Tahiti as they're going to pick it up there. Quig maybe looking like he's in a bit of trouble. The wall is going to find him not safe. He's not going to be able to walk away there, but finding his way out with just a slither of HP. Once again, Gone to Tahiti failed to find the kill, and it's instead going to be Cope who's turned around on here, but now Mando in a bit of a situation as well. He might fall down, but the healing is going to be good to keep him alive. Cascade going to jump underneath the tower. Jumping up into that ultimate. He is a big squid, and he will not leave you alone. Unfortunately, though, I don't think he has the damage to deal with 3 members here and the tower. He does not. He realizes it as well. He's just going to back away. Once again, we see Tahiti not quite being able to pick up a kill, and now Gold Fury looks like he's going to pull the way of Hype Unit.
It's getting really low, but Mollusk is here and Diesel's on the side, but just too little, too late. First Gold Fury of the game is going to go to Hype Unit, and this is so important because now it's really going to help Layers start to make up this little bit of difference between the Nemesis and the Arachne. Of course, the Spider is a little bit more early game oriented, but as we're seeing in the replay here, it's just too close there. A call for Mando. He is able to scrape by with barely an HP or 2 to his name, but that's the power of Aphrodite, that survivability that this character brings not only to herself, but at least one other ally. I mean, it's not something to be discounted here.
And it's got to be playing mental games with Gonta Tahiti here. It's really frustrating when you see 1, 2, 5 kills getting away on a slither of HP. So I'm hoping that Gonta Tahiti are learning to deal with it. It looks like they're not being too heavily discouraged here as 4 people are looking over towards this right-hand side. Mollusk is going to take a little bit of damage, but nothing that a bit of a kiss and heal from Mando Warrior can't help. And the blue buff is going to fall the way of Hype Unit, but as I was saying, it could be taking a toll on Tahiti's mental game.
I think that they're still totally fine here. We're in game number 1 of a best of 3, so as long as they're able to stick it out at least to the very late game here, they will have a fully fledged Heimdall and Merlin by their side. Not to mention, Mando's going to be having 40% cooldown, maybe even with a Rod of Asclepius or a Lotus Crown, and that's going to be great in terms of sustain. As long as they're able to play the longer game and stick around for the healing to take effect, they should be able to secure some W's in the late game team fights, but they've got to get through mid game first, and honestly, with the way it's looking right now, it's still gonna stick pretty even. We need to see a fight break out up against another Gold Fury, but that's not even gonna be spawning for 3 or so minutes, so until then, we're probably gonna be seeing some stalemates, maybe some invades back and forth, and if someone gets caught out too far where Cope is right now, we might be seeing another kill.
On the flip side of that as well, though, we see already a lot of anti-heal coming up. But hold that thought as under the tower go 3. Cascade is already looking like he's in danger, but the ultimate's popped it. He still had it available to him, but it's not going to matter as the damage Mollusk might be enough, but 1 HP left on Cascade. He's just about going to survive it. Here comes the Hype Unit now. Collapsing on Commando Warrior. He's going to be the first target down. He falls to the boulder. Quick picks up the kill. Another double freeze and a little bit of help from the ice carpet should help Cope just slip away into the background there, as that should be the end of the fight here from these 2 teams. Sops shows up, and everyone from Hype Unit starts backing away, but another invade under the tower just doesn't pay off, and no HP there on Cascade. I want to stress that. That was nothing there.
Yeah, it really seemed to be half a bar there to his name, but I'm honestly confused why they're showing so much pressure over in solo. I mean, these guys will be late game juggernauts. They're more so looking to build up the items, build up the health and the cooldown to be able to just be practically invincible. And I suppose the thought process here is that, all right, let's slow them down at least a little bit. We want these guys to scale at an even pace to everyone else. We don't want them to be so far ahead that they're just crazy, insane, unkillable. So I can understand the focus a little bit, but if I'm picking somewhere to go, I want to try and shut down one of these hunters. I mean, we saw earlier that they were able to force almost everything out of BenQ, Beat, Ultimate, you name it. They got it. They just left him alone after that.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate too because we see him now with, well, just now under a 2-level lead against his opponent in the dual lane, so Rama reaching that late game status is going to be huge for him, and he's going to start being able to do a lot of damage as we're going to see the tier 1 fall in the right-hand side. So they did get that, I guess, out of all the pressure onto Cascade, but I'm not really sure that's going to be worth it for the amount of stuff that BenQ is going to be able to do on this run with that semi-global pressure, the piercing arrows from his 1. I'm scared of this Rama, if I'm honest.
At this point, yeah, you have to be afraid of him, especially because he can chew through a tank so easily, especially someone like Cope, who is on this team here, who stands still in 3 of his abilities. Being able to have an easy shot is so underrated in Smite, because honestly, the more autos you hit, especially if you're going this crit build, the more chances you have to get those crits off. And, you know, not having aim, that's real nice, especially in a character that not only stands still, but can't run away as well as everyone else. The only kind of advantage that Cope does have in this matchup here is that, you know, Benny can't travel through walls. If he puts down the ice wall, Benny's gonna roll his face right into a block of ice.
I'm just waiting to see the Phantom. I mean, everyone's picked up a second relic already, but I want to see a Phantom. Show it to me, Lemmy.
We're still waiting on one from Cope, but like you said, Phantom could be an option against Ymir in your games. It does have some nice mitigation on it, so it's not too bad of a choice, but I like the idea here from Quig going for this Ankh. It's going to be so important dealing with characters like Aphrodite, like Arachne, that just have so much inherent sustain. Good knock up there from Quig. Not going to take anything from it, but speaking of taking something, Gold Fury's already done, and this is what I was talking about 5 or 10 minutes ago. If they just have the advantage here, gone to Tahiti, I mean, they just burn it real fast.
And they're going to continue doing exactly that. As in the mid lane, it looks like Nayu is going to fall down, but actually super squiggly is that Discordia. He's going to get away, and now the fight is erupting in the mid lane here with Cascade just absolutely hammering away at 4 members of Gone to Tahiti, who could very easily turn around. And it looks like that is what they're looking to do, but up into the sky goes Benny Q. He's going to find one, but also finding a kill is his solo lane. A second kill for Benny Q there. That's going to be huge. Triple kill for Benny Q. That's going to be exactly what Hype Unit wants in order to just completely make up for that Gold Fury. And now Pyromancer is being looked at, and honestly, they could even look at Fire Giant here.
I mean, you'd think so, right? But there's at least 2 members in that red health bar right now. They could go for it, and it looks like they are, but Nehu will be taking a ton of damage. He is going to have to step out here soon when those boulders come through. He's going to be sitting at a little under 200 HP, but here comes Cascade with a teleport back in full health, and Benny is just swinging away, man. This Fire Giant is done for Hype Unit. Remember when we said a little bit ago how you should be focusing the ROM? Yeah, this is what happens when you don't.
Yeah, Rama, Benny Q just absolutely shredding through people and objectives alike. We'll see him here on the replay picking up that triple kill. But this is why you do not leave Rama to go unchecked. He's going to get to the sky and help out his team there. But just look at this. Super easy for him to clean up these kills. Has to pop the beads, but he's not going to mind it too much. As now with this Fire Giant, Hype Unit could really start to turn up the heat and put the pressure on to go into Tahiti.
They did lose that left-hand side tower. Only Fury was secured by Gone to Tahiti, so it's not all negative for the boys in red. They will at least get something for that Gold Fury kill, despite losing a lot of members in that mid lane fight. There's a bunch of towers still remaining on the board for Gone to Tahiti, so this one is basically just going to be running it down the lanes and taking some towers. And honestly, if I'm Gone to Tahiti, I could look for a fight here. If Hype Unit decides to split up even just a little bit, you try and pick on the one person who's by themselves, and right now it is going to be Quig, but he's taking very defensive pathing. You love to see it. Quig is going exactly the way you'd hope him to be going, but he's got to be careful here because everybody's lurking in mid. They know they can't contest this push, so they're going to have to go somewhere else, and that's going to be the split push by the whole team over in mid.
Is this going to be a base race? Are they just both going to just completely shove down one lane and try and end?
Lazy, it's 20 minutes. We're not there yet.
I mean, hey, Quig, he's just looking for something here. Boulder over the... Okay, Quig just apparently really had something against Sops. He wanted to just throw a big rock at him, and he's going to do so. But tier 2 tower's going to be picked up there for Hype Unit. And nothing really Gone to Tahiti can do about it. They're going to pick up these back camps on their way out as well. But actually, Cascade might be in some trouble here. It's going to come through, blocking up 2. But now it's going to be a separation from the teams. One person's going to fall down there. It's going to be Mollusk. He's going to die. And now up to the sky goes Rama. Going to do a little bit of damage with that Astral Barrage. But with that space and a man down on Gone to Tahiti, it looks like this this mid tier 2 and tier 1 could be looked at. Tier 2 and tier 1 obviously being the operative term. Going to take down the tier 1 first, but this tier 2 tower should be absolutely free to them, especially with the power of Benny Q and Leia's buff.
I mean, you can't underemphasize the positioning from Quig in that last fight. The fact of the matter is he was there long enough to distract Gone to Tahiti so that all of Hype Unit could push up this left-hand side and grab that Phoenix. This is a Phoenix at 20 minutes in. That's going to be weakened for the rest of the game, regardless if it comes up or not. It's permanently scarred now, so even if they try to go for it again, that's still a massive W for them. Not only that, there are, what, 5 or so towers on the board here with this Fire Giant, and in this time, they got all 5 of the towers and the Phoenix. That's insane.
Yeah, and they still got a little bit of time left. Not that I think that they're going to try and do anything with it, but Hype Unit, they're all going to back away there. Just spend all of that gold that they got. Look at that graph. That is some Mount Everest kind of stuff right there as we go from next to nothing in this game. And within the course of about 4 minutes, 9,500 gold and about 12,000 experience there on the side of Hype Unit. It's starting to look like a slippery slope for Gone to Tahiti. Lamy, what kind of things do they need to be doing to try and get their way back into this game?
I think we've gone past the slope here, and for them to actually turn this one around, they're going to have to stall us out for 20 or so minutes. Let everyone get full build here, but if you're looking at the builds from the supports, just as a starting point, I mean, we're seeing double sword here coming out from Kobe. He's got a ton of movement speed, not so much survivability. He's got the thieves, so a little bit of extra health on top of everything, but no solid cross in any direction. And with this Gold Fury, that's going to put them in a solid lead at almost 11k, and they've got to get lucky here. Gone to Tahiti need a miracle at this point to be able to get back into it. They could have a stellar engagement around this Fire Giant because this is the SCC, and even SPL players can't leash the Fire Giant, you know, to a T. Sometimes they make mistakes, right? So taking advantage of any place that you can, for sure, is great. But that left-hand side Phoenix is going to be down for at least a little while longer. So at this point, they have to really be aware of those fire minions and then make some sort of counter rotation once that Phoenix is up to be able to put pressure onto this fire.
Hype Unit definitely choosing the optimal Phoenix to take down there in that siege. That left-hand side makes everyone on Gone to Tahiti go, oh, let's try and do Fire Giant, but instead, Cope hold that thought, might fall down here. As you said, Ymir just unable to really do anything. He's going to use absolutely everything there. The blink falls down, but following him up with the blink, I don't think it was really necessary, but Layers is going to blink on him. But with that time, Gone to Tahiti strip away this mid tower, and Sops could even take the left tier 2 here. But they are going to trade out a Fire Giant for it, so I'm not sure this is going to be worth it.
Especially if they don't get this Phoenix here. I would take fire any day of the week, but I'm surprised with how these supports have been playing Distraction and how well it's worked. Everyone in the SCC seems to have blood in their eyes and want to chase down any kill that you can find. And at this point, that's what Quake's going to do, but he's walking into 3 people. Players is in the wings to help him out, but the up-down from Mollis can take some solid damage to Quig, and he's about to fall down.
Healing from Mando and Hercules is going to be so good there, but not quite good enough to save either of their lives. Sorry, not Mando. That's going to be Layers falling down there. No, not able to help his Hercules. Unfortunate, and that's going to be 2 players already losing the Fire Giant buff now. Not necessarily the most important ones. BennyQ and Neo still healing and clinging to this Fire Giant buff, but maybe it's going to be impactful as well. But the Apple of Discord is going to finish off one. Up to the sky goes Rama. Up into the big boy form is going to go Cascade. He's going to pick up one for himself. And now it's gone to Tahiti, who are under pressure. A 3rd player falls there. That's going to be Sops in the ground. And now Hype Unit, they're just going to be chasing down Mando. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to catch up with the Afro, but they're definitely going to try. They're going all in on this, but that is super unfortunate for Gone to Tahiti. They finally get 2 kills, and Hype Unit just slaps straight back.
Neo, I'm sorry I doubted your Galaxy Brain. That was the most insane Apple of Discord I've seen in my life. Nice wall there from Cope to at least slow down the auto attacks coming through, but once again, that Phoenix is weakened, so it's going to go down pretty easily. And now they're jumping into this mid-Phoenix, and the focus is going to be trying to get to BennyQ, but he's doing so much damage. Dash in there to Mando, not able to get that last pot shot to finish him off, but it does not matter. Cascade is so tanky at this point, and they're just going to grab this one for free.
It's almost a taunt there from BennyQ. Cope puts up the wall, and instead of just going around it, Benny pops the one just to be able to shoot through it and go, hey, your walls mean nothing to me, as the fight in over the right-hand side is going to break out. Apple Discord is going to be off the mark, but first of all is going to be Cascade. He's going to fall down here, but Sops is going to fall down just as quickly. Up to the sky goes Rama. BennyQ is going to pick up a 2nd kill, and now it's Nayu picking up the Arachne. Mosk is going to fall as well, and it's just Cope and Mando now, the 2 tanky people. Heals and ice. Can they save this Titan from falling down? I'm not sure they can, Lermy, as it's already half HP. Losing focus, our hype unit, but it's not going to matter. No one on the rest of Tahiti is going to fall, but hype unit's going to pick up game 1 in a pretty quick 26-minute game there. 26
minutes sure is a fast one, but they really played to a T, and honestly, they did play well. Hype unit had a phenomenal performance, but honestly, I'm going to chalk it up to the drafts there. I hate Ymir. I'm just going to stand on that pedestal and take the L there, but Cope just got picked on cooldown.
Yeah, it was definitely unfortunate. You said at the start of the game how Ymir is kind of the statistical, we don't really like Ymir, but for some reason, the pros, the semi-pros, they all seem to really like the big ice cube, but unfortunately he was not able to wave his way out of this situation. And Cope is, not used to seeing Cope just take this much aggression. I want to see him on something else, maybe a trip back to Warriors for the next game, maybe try and pick up the Hercules, or maybe ban it away, because Quig's Hercules was no laughing matter that game.
It was pretty good. He did do a really great job of just getting in the face of everyone on Gone to Tahiti and making them distracted. That's kind of been the name of the game for the supports, at least in this set so far. Quig was the distractor in mid lane to allow the rest of his squad to push up that left side, take down all those towers, and get a Phoenix. And honestly, that just opened the game wide up for Hype Unit. Now all that GTT has to focus on there is the fact that they've got fire minions trouncing down their left-hand side, and they just could claim the rest of the towers for free, basically, because there's not really much you can do. You can't let fire minions waltz into your Titan for free.
And getting towers and fire giants is just so easy for this Hype Unit roster. Benny Q, as we see there, structure damage, 11,000, the most on... I think that's everyone combined is Benny Q right there. So absolutely insane amount of objective pressure coming out from this Hunter here. Next game, definitely want to see a step away from maybe focusing on Cascade, and definitely a little bit more help being given over to this duo lane, because my word, Benny Q played out of his mind.
For sure, and especially when he got that triple in mid, it just seemed like a GG from there. So if we're looking at Mollusk, which I think he is going to be the focus of this next game, if GTT brings it back, it's going to be on the back of this Spider player. And honestly, I didn't hate the Arachne pick. They were able to force a lot of hackers and stuff off of Benny, but they just needed to keep the pressure over there, like you said.
Well, one of my main problems with their comp is that they had all this kind of engage potential, but they didn't really have any finishing moves in there. They didn't have a big mage ult, they didn't have a big ADC snipe. They didn't really have that secure, and that was really what they were struggling with. We saw so many times their players getting away with 10, 20, 1 HP. And it's got to be frustrating for GTT, so definitely want to see some more kind of secure damage there.
Something to finish them off, right? Anything really will do, and like you said, that could involve Cope going back on a trip to Warrior City. I'm here for that.
Me too, and hopefully we'll see him do just that as we head into picks and bans for Game 2. I'm super excited here. I want to see Kuzenbo, always, but most importantly, I want to see Cope on something that he's more comfortable on, and Benny Q banned away from Rama, because if I'm GTT, I do not want to deal with that. Those snipes are on point. Yeah, I have got nothing else to say. Even Boronic on Discordia, not Boronic, sorry, the sub, NATO doing so well there. As you said, those apples of Discord just spicy.
Yeah, Chef's kisses over there to Nehu, the newcomer to this Hype Unit roster. He's been doing a great job adapting to the playstyle of these boys, and certainly with a lot of new members, at least this split so far, it's been looking pretty good from these guys, especially with that Game 1 victory. But in Game number 2 here, Yamoja taking off the board instantly. I'm fine with it. There's no problem there.
Me too. Yamoja, super strong. There's a reason she's 100% pick and ban. Either you play her, or you do not want to play against her. The Ullah's being banned out there. Nemesis being banned from GTT. Clearly a respect over there towards Layers, who definitely didn't play badly on this Nemesis. I'm not sure if I liked it enough to justify the ban, but hey, whatever floats your rock. Oleron going to be banned out by Hype Unit. Pretty standard stuff here.
Gone to Tahiti could leave open the Freya if they want. They're going to ban away the Cthulhu from Cascade. Fine with that. This last ban from Hype Unit's probably going to be Freya, if anything at all. I mean, they're going to choose Persephone instead, which I guess is fine. But if I'm GTT, we're snap locking Freya.
Yep. And 3, 2, 1. There it. Nope. Well, I mistimed that. There it is.
Hey, there it is.
You had to prove me wrong, didn't you, Gone to Tahiti? Thank you for that. But yes, obviously, Freya super strong at the moment. I mean, her items are all there. She's all there. She got changed. She got reverted, but she's back with a vengeance. So definitely no complaints there. Hercules being picked up by Hype Unit.
Very nice.
Definitely no complaints for Quig on this big muscly lion boy.
Not only that, but taking it away from Cope once again is going to do him right. And Layers pulling out the Ao Kuang. We've known Layers to kind of go for some of these spicier picks. I mean, he's played Ares in the jungle before, so bringing out another magical character over there. One that's a little more typical than say Ares for sure, but he can still Hecate abuse. So being able to pick up this character on your side, especially having an execute, who doesn't love that?
Ao Kuang is one of these enigma characters. He could either be the most annoying person to deal with ever, or he could just have no impact and hit like a wet sock. So I'm really, really excited to see how Layers is going to do on this Ao Kuang. Mollusk, in fact, going back to the Arachne alongside Aphrodite back on Mando Warrior. I'm not sure how I feel about this run back for these two players. Mollusk definitely didn't have a bad game on Arachne, but we definitely didn't see anything flashy from Mando. Cerberus being picked up by Hype Unit, though. This I do like.
I don't disagree that I wasn't too enthralled with the Arachne, but the Afro was life-saving a couple of times, so I'm not mad at that. But one thing is for certain, I love this Cerberus pickup. It is an absolute counter to 3 of the members have gone to Tahiti right now, at least in the terms of they're getting less healing and my soul laner is going to be getting a ton. If he's near any of these characters and Arachne's pop the stim, Freya's out here Hecate abusing, or Aphrodite's just plain old healing, Cerberus is going to get a chunk of that to himself. So by all means, throwing him in the game, especially because we're seeing items pop up that are useful on him. Even going for a spear on him wouldn't be a bad idea. It applies so well with the Prot Shred. Just kind of leaning more into that hybrid build focus for Mando could be a good look.
A spear? I didn't realize that you were Mogao, Lermy. I didn't realize you were going for these hyper-aggressive guardians. But Hou-Yi is going to be picked up by Hype Unit. Sobek Cupid banned away for them, and Jingwei Discordia banged away on the other side. I agree with this disco pick. I definitely think that Neyu played well on it. No deaths, decent kills, no complaints. Anha going to be picked up in the dual lane? Mid Anha?
Mid. I'm going to say that's the mid on her. He does really well building into the power-oriented style, especially because that ultimate is on such a low cooldown. I like this Kumbhakarna selection. Not only can you technically immune away the execute from the Ao Kuang if sleepy time is up, but you also are just able to disable him in general. Popping the Mighty on at a point when an Ao Kuang is walking at your backline, that's probably the best peel you could ask for, especially if there's no damage coming onto him at that point. He's going to sit there for a solid 3 or so seconds, just fast asleep.
We were talking about Mogao, and we clearly summoned his favorite pick. Kumbhakarna, I think, is super strong. I think people are sleeping on him at the moment. He's probably going to be going into the support role. I can't imagine Mando being the kind of person to run the Kumbha in the solo lane, but we'll see how it works out for them, as Merlin is last picked here on Hype Unit. Sops definitely didn't have a bad game on it last time, so again, no complaints as we get into game 2 here between these two teams. Let's see if Gone to Tahiti can execute this comp a little bit better. Problems that I was talking about last game have kind of been fixed. They've got the Valkyrie's Discretion. They've got Sops' ultimate to try and finish off some of these kills. A little bit more damage secure there, so maybe we'll be able to see them getting a few more kills, as it doesn't look like Hype Unit are planning any 4-man ganks at pre-game.
Yeah, not this time, and despite the fact that we're seeing Mando go back to this Aphrodite, they're not looking to pick on her as much. I don't think that they have really, the best level 1 amongst their characters, so no problems there, but they are maybe looking to invade this purple buff. They are showing a presence here, but there's a ward that they're sitting right on top of, so maybe no purple buffs all around for this duo lane, and that's going to mean that we're going to see a little bit of a slower level 2 from these guys. We're going to have to wait all the way up until that second wave to see anyone hit level 2 here, but actually it looks like they've backed up far enough that Diesel and Cope are comfortable enough to be going for this purple.
I think this is a super interesting start. Hype Unit definitely recognizing that they have the early game advantage against a Freya and a Kumba, who are amazing characters, but definitely need time to rev up their engines before they can properly ride away with the game. But look at this. They take the wave and they go straight to red buff. I love this from Hype Unit.
It's a good counter engage here up against Mollusk on this Arachne because they know he's all about the invade, so he's not really going to be coming to his own red buff for a long time, especially because he already does have a slight advantage here in terms of jungle clear time. Mollusk is over there doing the mid camps and going over to his own back camps. That red invade was free, basically.
And it's just really good recognition, as you said, of Mollusk's tendencies and also their own timers, that recognizing, you know, the mid laner won't be going there until about a minute and a half, and we've got plenty of time. Gets them to level 2 before their opponents, and they're really forcing Gone to Tahiti under tower here, but they do need to be careful because Mollusk might start looking pretty hungrily at BennyQ.
You think so, right? Considering his performance last game, you've got to pick on this Hui Yi, man. And now that he doesn't have the CC immune ult in this matchup, this might be even a little bit better for Mollusk to make this rotation. Maybe early, maybe not, but I don't know. They've been playing this pressure pretty patiently, so maybe this is just exactly what Mollusk needs. If you're having everyone pushed up to that tower, it's just an easy rotation through the jungle over there.
See, I think Mollusk misses a trick there. I think the play should have been for him to go and rotate over over to the left lane after he finished the Oreos there, show a little bit of presence, and maybe help alleviate a little bit of this pressure that Hype Unit have really been putting on, but instead chooses to look into the enemy jungle. Not going to find anything there, but still, decent thought. He's going to just throw some spiders on there. That's brilliant.
It's going to slow down layers clear at least a little bit, and we've been talking a lot about Mollusk, but if we're looking over to the other side of things, this is a make-or-break character, as we talked about in picks and bans. If layers can find a good execute in the early game, this is going to start him off right on the good foot here, especially if he's able to get into that Ring of Hecate a little bit earlier than someone else. That's going to be so good for this guy, because he's more around that auto-attack oriented build. Ever since Polynomicon doesn't proc anymore on his 3, it's been all about just walking up to someone, chasing them down, and keeping those auto attacks coming, because Ao Kuang, just in general, has a pretty fast attack speed for a mage, or really any character, period. Those swings are coming out fast and often, so amplifying them even more with the Hecate, which you'll get those 3 stacks very quickly on that character, it's gonna work out.
And as we see, Ao Kuang super close to hitting level 5, and in fact just does it as I talk about it. So we should be seeing, in an ideal world, him starting to look for a gank somewhere across the map. So I would keep your eyes open on the duo lane, as you probably will want to look to try and get BennyQ ahead once more. We saw how well he did last time, but we'll just have to see at the moment. He's just kind of sitting back, clearing some jungle camps, but who do you think is going to be the target here for layers? Because I definitely think it's going to be someone on these outer layers.
It's going to have to be Diesel, I feel, because Freya does have that bit of safety in the loop and the Valkyrie's discretion, but if they're able to strip some of that away, or at least get her in a position where she's too far forward, just spotted out in the jungle, that could be a really easy one for him to charge down, because Freya doesn't have a movement ability in her kit. She is going to be pretty fast once she picks up those boots, but beyond that, she's going to burn something if she needs to run away. Either that, or she's going to have to fight into him, which, for sure, a lot of times you will surprisingly win that trade because, of course, Freya does have the passive, which gives her a little bit of lifesteal to her name. So combine that with some aggression out of a Ring of Hecate, and you could turn an engagement.
Speaking of engagements, though, Quig coming around the back here forces out the whoop, pushes them towards BennyQ, but BennyQ not really in a position to follow up. Freya does take a little bit of damage, but nothing's really going to come of it, so unfortunate there. No ultimate available for Quiggy, but oh well. We'll see him pulling out some boulders soon, I'm sure, but look over here in the right lane. This is going to probably be the first big gank we see from Layers. He is going to be able to... Nope, sorry, not quite able to steal away the blue buff there. Mando manages to secure it, so good on the Aphrodite. Not going to lose out on that very essential blue buff, but back over on the left-hand side, we see the rotation coming in from Mollusk, and there's the boulder forcing out the Valkyrie's discretion, but Freya is so low. Diesel sitting on next to no HP now, but it's going to be Quig, who might be in some trouble here, gets pushed into the wall by the Arachne, but jump's going to be good from BennyQ, and the rest of Gone to Tahiti are going to go back home.
That was pretty close there. They both forced out Mollusk and Diesel there, and with no Valkyrie's discretion available, it's going to be trouble for this Freya should she head back into lane and beyond suspecting, but Thunder going to come out from Benny, which means it's time for him to go. He probably has just enough in his pocket to finish off the boots, so he more than likely just wanted to zone Quig off of those back minions. Dirty supports, get out of my lane, this is my farm.
Speaking of not wanting to share farm, though, in the mid lane, seeing both junglers coming to hang out. Ultimate forced out there from Sops, trying to find a kill. Merlin's going to fall super low there, but once again, no kills coming through. I'm super surprised. I'm proud of you, NA. It's 6.5 minutes in and still no first blood, so I am super interesting.
I hadn't even noticed.
No.
At this point, though, if we're looking at comps more oriented towards the late game, it's going to be all about this matchup in the jungle. Layers is a character that succeeds very well when left alone in the late game, so if Mollusk isn't able to keep up, could be a problem for the Spider, and at this point, he is a level behind, so he's going to have to keep that in mind, but he did try to contest some farm there, so at least he is in the right direction of things, and that's been the MO here for the Spider, is trying to find as much invade as possible, and letting her own team clear out the jungle.
Did Mollusk actually find the big harpy there? I think he might have done. In which case, you gotta respect the commitment to, as a level behind, against an Ao Kuang who you know has ultimate, just run up and just, like, attack a harpy that he is also trying to clear.
Yeah, I mean, going into the web could have been good for them, and that's really the only use that you're going to be seeing Mollusk do. And we saw last game that he was just using that at any point. Whenever he was in trouble, he slammed the 4 key and he was on his way. Did not want to get caught out in a bad position there at all, and it's kind of the deal with Arachne. You've got to be incredibly patient with your use there. So if Mollusk is able to do that, which now the jump in from BennyQ is good, he's going to start up a fight.
The jump comes through, as you said, from BennyQ, and it's going to force out the ultimate. Mollusk finally picks up first blood for this game at 8 minutes. The whoop is going to save the life of the jungler, though. Quig unable to follow up from a beautiful pancake flip. Mollusk is going to retreat back to his house, and now with a kill under his belt, and a little bit less of a gap between him and Ao Kuang, we could start seeing some gas pedals being pressed here. As over towards the mid lane, we're seeing another engagement breaking out.
I mean, you thought so, right? Cope was kind of in a bad spot there, and the rotation from Cascade was good, but Sops has been on point with these pillars so far. He's been putting them in the exact right spot to body block away this chonky doggy over in the solo lane, so no rotation there from Cascade that really made any difference there, but regardless, he did show his faces, so you know, he did at least do something, whereas Mando's been over here soloing all this farm, just chilling out, and that's kind of what you have to do as an Aphrodite. You're more so there to stall out this lane and just sit there under tower, pop on the heel. It can be a little frustrating sometimes as a solo laner, and you know, Cascade has been doing a very good job at maintaining that frustration level because Mando has been doing this all set so far, just sitting here and farming.
Well, not quite to the same level as a Loki, but definitely that similar kind of vibe where Mando will just clear the wave, like, from a distance, and then run back to his tower and be like, hee hee, you can't hurt me. And then when you come in to clear your own wave, you just get that little bit of poke, and it's like, well, that's just kind of rude. But over in the left-hand side, though, Hype Unit looking to start up this Gold Fury. Only Cope really in position to contest this at the moment. Suns are going to come through, but he's going to be knocked back. Now it's Cope all by himself. Uses the dash, but is going to get drawn in by the black hole. He's going to get picked up by Ao Kuang, who feasts on first blood for Hype Unit, but Mollusk is going to follow it straight up by putting Nehu in the ground. His first death in the set, mind you. Whoop is going to be off the mark, though, in the background here as Freya picks up a kill onto the Hou Yi as well. BennyQ falls down, and can we call that a solo kill? Because they're both the ADCs, they killed each other, that's fine. It's a solo, totally. You got him, Diesel. Finally, Quig is going to get put in the ground. Yeah, it's close enough, it's basically a solo. But Quig is going to fall down there at the end of that engagement, but Gold Fury for 3 players? What do you think there, Lems?
Honestly, that's a big W here for GTT. They've been doing a great job at least following up on the fight, and because Cope was there in the middle of everyone, it was somewhat distracting, right? They're all thinking, Gold Fury, Cope, who do we focus in this fight? And they didn't focus either of them, really. They did end up getting the Gold Fury thanks to some sustained damage, but they weren't thinking about, where's everyone else? And all of a sudden, everyone else shows up, and they all fall down.
I mean, yeah, beautifully played there by Gone to Tahiti. They just absolutely capitalized off that little bit of misfocus, as you said. But Hype Unit do drop the ball, and Gone to Tahiti looking like night and day so far from the last game. Only 1 kill from them, and that was about 12 minutes in. Now, in the driving seat with 4 kills, 3 kills up, and now it looks like Cascade could be the next person on the mortuary list. Comes in here on to Cascade, does Mollusk. Stun's going to be good. Beads are popped from Mollusk, from Cascade as well. Not Beads, that's going to be the ultimate, and he's going to fall down. A little bit of an easy kill there onto big chunky doggos.
You didn't have to do the dog like that, but over here in the left-hand side, they're doing Diesel like that, especially with the boulder pop and the blink. Knockup's gonna be good, and Layers is gonna get a couple more autos. He's gonna pop the beats. He's trying to go for the execute, and he goes straight up into the sky. Successful rotation to counter out the one onto Cascade. 1 for 1 there across the map, and honestly, getting Diesel is probably the more valuable kill. I mean, you love Cascade, but hey, just kidding, it's a 2 for 1 now, because Diesel is avenged here by Sops, and using an ultimate, very accurate there on the snipes.
That was a zip-zap stop all across the map there. People just getting picked off left, right, and center, but in the mid lane, Mollusk actually looking like he could be in trouble here. He's gonna have a tower shot following him, but that shouldn't be enough to put him in the ground. I do want to say, I feel really sorry for Diesel over there in that left lane. Does absolutely everything right to try and survive. Whoops Layers to try and get away, manages to find his way around the back of the tower, but because Layers just knows he has to execute, it's not going to matter, and hold that thought over in the left lane, and engagement is going to spring out, and down falls Benny-Q already. Cope is going to fall down, but Sleepy Time is going to be active. Nayu is running away. He's trying to keep his distance here. He doesn't want to get mezzed, and Cope just on the verge of waking up there, but not quite going to find it. Another pick.
Again, it's Cope going a little bit too far forward. He has been showing a great deal of restraint this game compared to last, and it does help when you've got so much self-feel, especially coming out of the yawn, but check out this Pyromancer. Boulder is used, and they've been doing some solid damage to it. Moss knows it's happening, but it's just a Pyromancer, right? They can have that little bit of extra gold and boost out a base. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, especially when Tahiti is still up by a solid K or so. They're in the lead at this point, and the most important matchup here is the fact that Mollusk is 4-0-0, a solid level ahead of his direct competitor Layers.
Definitely, and I feel like I got to apologize to the guy. You know, I said I didn't really understand why he was picking up this Arachne again after last game, and he's just completely showing me wrong. He's going, all right, Blazy, all right, if you think it's not very valuable, I will prove it to you, and just steps on the gas pedal there. I do want to say though, this game seems to have gone from 100 to from 0 to 100 like that, with no kills being found until 8 minutes. And now at the 13-minute mark, already seeing 10 and potentially an 11th, as it looks like Mollusk is looking to gank over here on the right-hand side with Mando Warrior. Looking like he could fall down here, pops the shell, and the healing is going to be good from him. Layers, the ultimate is available, and in comes Quig to help him out, pins him against the wall, just going to be good enough for the dragon form. Another kill goes the way of Hype Unit, and Mando, I mean, it's like last game, but this time he's also feeding.
Back and forth have been this rotation over to the Soul lane. One time it's one team sending 3 over. The next time it's the other team sending 3 over. When Nayu is almost getting sent back to the base, he does juke out those spiders. And Benny-Q is here, but the last spear was on the mark for Sops. The Whoop is going to save him, and so is the jump away. The K-Can accurate as ever with those shots. Going to trade out 1 for 1 here.
I mean, again, I feel sorry for Neo. He plays that perfectly, pitch perfectly. Pops the shell at the right time, uses his abilities in the right order to get away from Mollusk, but it just doesn't matter when that damage is coming through, and Mollusk himself could be in some trouble here as there isn't an ultimate available for him. Oh my goodness, the boulder mixed alongside with the ricochet is going to put him in the ground. I was not expecting that. Mollusk looked so close to being out. but it's not going to matter when those long-range abilities are going to come out. And now it's going to be Hype Unit picking up probably an Oni Fury here, as it's already dead before Tahiti can even get in. Blinking in goes Cope, but he's not going to be able to find anything. Up to the sky goes one. The healing's going to come from Mando now, and now it's going to be one kill in favor of Tahiti. They're going to take it and go straight into the mid lane. Looks like they could be picking up this tier 1 tower.
Did Quake have a health bar there? I know he was in the sands, right? So the Honor's doing a ton of extra damage, but oh my gosh, that Freya damage, man. He got smacked by every single one of those autos and disappeared there. So even though GTT lose out on the Gold Fury, they grab at least a kill or two and run away with that one. They grab the mid-tier one as well, but they've got to be paying at least a little bit of attention over to this left-hand side, because we're seeing BennyQ push up at least a little bit with this wave. Another strain of Oni minions, and half a regular wave will be coming up to this tower, but Diesel and Sops are on the way to take care of it.
Diesel definitely making sure that he is making Hype Unit regret not banning Freya's over in the right lane. Hype Unit are looking to steal away a Fire Giant completely by themselves. I mean, I don't think Layers has the damage here, but here comes BennyQ and Quake. Quake, in fact, using the blink, and I think they've got it, you know, Lerm. There comes the boulder to secure, and that's a 16.5-minute Fire Giant, but for what reason? What are they going to get from it? As now Quake, it looks like he could be under some pressure. Gets the turnaround onto Mollusk, does BennyQ, and now the ultimate's going to come through from Sops as well. But Pillar is actually going to detriment Tahiti's chase potential here, and Hype Unit are going to get away with it. I'm not really sure what the plan was here, or what Hype Unit can really do with this, but they just got a free Fire Giant.
Indeed, and with Cascade forcing out the ultimate there from the Afro, there's no ult for Mollusk either, and that could be the go button for them. They've got Fire Giant around all 5 members. Ultimate is still available for Layers, so they've got an execute on their side as well. They could start pushing up some of these tier 1s, and it looks like that's exactly the case. They're after this mid tower, and GTT, man, they're just letting this one go.
I mean, there's no reason for them to defend this tier 1 tower at this point. It was half health already, and against a fully Fire Giant team, you know, what's really the point? But over here in the mid lane, we're going to see the tier 2 being pressured, but not as pressured as Anha. He's going to fall down so quickly. I didn't even get to see what happened to him. But now it's going to be the rest of Tahiti looking to fall back and defend this tier 2 tower. But in a 4v5 situation against a full Fire Giant team, I don't think they're going to have the cojones there to stay. But Cope definitely showing his worth. He's going to try and stop something, and it's actually going to be Merlin coming through, and he's going to put Mollusk into the ground super quickly. Second kill there from Nayu. Going to pick off another member of Tahiti into the sky. Pulls Ao Kwang. It's going to be an om for Hype Unit, and this tier 1 tower for free is turning very quickly into nearly a Deicide and definitely a Phoenix.
Are they going to end here? No, guys. It is 18.5 minutes. Sops is up, but he just got pulled into a ton of damage. The immunity is not going to save him. Too little, too late. This Titan is dead, man.
I am lost for words. 18.5 minutes. We were saying last game was quick, Lermy. That was a 26-minute game. This is nearly a whole 10 minutes below that. Okay. So Hype Unit are on the back foot for the entire game, sneak away a Fire Giant at 16 minutes, and then just end off one push in the mid lane. I am shook to my core, Lermy. Explain. What just happened? What did I just witness?
GTT had the worst defense of their lives. They died one by one. They didn't respect the damage, especially coming out of Nehu, who ended up getting a double kill there underneath that tier 2 tower. They tried to slow him down, right? But the better play would have been to back up at least a little bit and not commit all the marbles to this, because, I mean, my mind is blown right now. I'm trying to find a way to explain it, but there really isn't.
I'm in the same boat, Lerm. Well, for starters, let's break down kind of what worked and what didn't work in that game, shall we? Obviously Mollusk definitely bringing the fire as Arachne there, showing definitely worth the second pickup, but clearly not that much. Like, in that last fight, in the last few engagements, in fact, we weren't really seeing too much of an impact from Mollusk. It was almost as if Hype Unit were like, okay, well, now that he's gotten a couple of kills, he's going to be getting hungry. He's going, I've been killing them all game. I'm going to be able to kill them super easily. I feel like Hype Unit almost played off that a little bit really, really well. They picked up, I believe they picked up a third shell. They did not, sorry. They picked up a shell on Nehu, which is where the confusion has come from for me there.
Nehu and Benny, the carries of all people, had the shells.
It's an interesting dynamic, but what we're seeing with these shells is because those extra block stacks in this meta where there are so many auto-attack based characters, it's really paying off. And as we saw, Nehu nearly surviving the engagement from Arachne just being finished off by Sops, it nearly worked out for him. And I honestly have no complaints, but all these players just played really well. I got to give it to Hype Unit, really pulling it together, recognizing that they had that opening and just full committing.
I think the one thing at GTT we're missing out on was that extra tanky front line. Of course, Mando does come through pretty strong with the healing, but if you're all sitting squished together underneath that tier 2 tower and you don't have anyone to really maintain that front line, Cope did his best, man. He really did try to push him out as far as he could, using the blink, using the yawn, trying to find something, right? But unfortunately for them, Diesel couldn't get close enough. Sops did his best with the long-range pillars, but they just didn't have a team fight at that point.
At the end of the day, Lamy, this all comes down to Cope having such a good performance last week that he used up all of the Cope dope. He's all out of Cope's dope. So just, falling a little flat on these couple performances today, but I'm super excited to see the next set that we've got. We've got Elevate versus Baskin and the boys. Baskin and the boys, obviously, they got Baskin. They got Mask. They got Meerkat. They got some pretty strong names. And Elevate definitely not slacking on star power themselves, but we'll have to see how that set goes in just a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to throw you to a quick break. Stay right where we are.